Lin Rao went to the gym like she always did, but by 11 p.m. she still wasn't home. I was just about to call her when my car app suddenly popped up a notification. 11:32 p.m. Vehicle vibration detected. Please check your car. I frowned because that made no sense at all. The road from the gym to our house was smooth the entire way, so there was no reason for the car to be shaking like that. Before I could even figure it out, another alert showed up. 11:34 p.m. Vehicle door not properly locked. Please inspect immediately. My heart started pounding. I called Lin Ru right away. The phone rang once, then she hung up. I tried again, but this time her phone was off. And while I was still staring at the screen, the app kept firing off the same warning over and over. Unusual vibration. Unusual vibration. My hands went cold. Then the front door opened, and Lin Ru walked in. Her shirt was damp with sweat and clinging to her body. Her hair was a mess, and her cheeks were still red like she'd just finished an intense workout. The second I saw her, my anger shot through the roof. I looked at her coldly and said, "You sure were busy tonight? So busy you couldn't even answer my call?" Lin Ru kept a calm expression and said, "Don't ask. I'm exhausted. You called me?" I didn't hear anything. I stared her down and said, "Looks like you had a pretty good time for 2 hours." She looked confused and said, "What are you talking about?" After I left the gym, I took the wrong road by mistake and ended up out in the countryside. The dirt road there was so rough, the car kept bouncing around. It took me forever to find my way back. Then she bent down, took off her shoes, and held them out to me. Look, my new shoes got completely dirty, and she wasn't lying about that part. There was dirt all over them. Then she walked up barefoot and showed me the bottoms of her feet too. They were covered in dust. Seeing that, my anger started cooling off. Maybe I really had misunderstood her. Lin Ru smiled, sat down in my lap, and softly asked, "What's wrong? Why do you look so upset tonight?" Her perfume filled my nose and made my head even more confused. I was about to apologize when my eyes dropped down, and I noticed something impossible. The full stockings she had worn when she left that morning were gone. Before I could even say anything, she stood up and headed straight for the bathroom. My suspicion came right back. I followed her immediately. The second I reached the bathroom door, I saw her take off her skirt, and at that moment, I felt like my breathing stopped. She wasn't wearing any underwear. The missing stockings could maybe be explained, but the underwear? There was no way that just disappeared. I held back my anger and asked, "But where did your stockings go?" She froze for a second, then suddenly acted like she remembered. "Oh, right. I spilled milk tea on them at the gym, and they got all sticky, so I threw them away." I immediately asked, "Fine. Then what about your underwear?" This time, the smile vanished from her face. Her eyes flickered with obvious panic. She slowly walked toward me and said in a hurt voice, "Sorry. I put on a little weight lately. My underwear was too tight. I was doing squats at the gym, it ripped, and I was so embarrassed I just threw it away." Watching her act so upset, my suspicion slowly started fading. The next morning, she went back to the gym again. I got into my car to head to work, and when I sat down, I noticed something weird. The driver's seat had been pushed way back. It was adjusted like someone well over 6 feet tall had been sitting there. I'm nowhere near that tall. Then everything from last night started crashing together in my head. The 2 hours of unusual vibration in the car, the missing stockings, the missing underwear, and now somebody else had clearly used my driver's seat. All the clues lined up. It hit me hard. Lin Ru was lying to me. I slammed my fist into the steering wheel and looked straight at the dash cam. Just give me the recording. That's all I need. Then I pulled out the memory card and checked the footage. My stomach dropped. Everything after 10 p.m. had been manually deleted. My anger only got worse. Lin Ru kept saying she went to that gym for yoga every day. If there was a secret, that's where it had to be hiding. I started the car and drove straight there. Outside the gym, huge posters covered the walls. But instead of membership info or fitness plans, the posters were filled with photos of attractive female members. The second I saw that, an idea hit me. I saved one of the photos and messaged the coach. "How much is membership? And if I join, do I get to see more photos?" The reply came fast. "Bro, you've got good taste. She's one of our most popular members. A yearly membership is $18,000. And it's not just photos. If you pay extra, we can even arrange private parties with the members." He sent over a few censored sample photos. The second I looked at them, my heart sank. I couldn't believe it. I'd been living under the same roof with Lin Ru this whole time and had no idea what was really going on. This wasn't a gym. It was an illegal racket hiding behind a fitness center. I forced myself to stay calm and paid for the membership right away. Then I asked for the uncensored collection. A link showed up almost immediately. I opened it and found a huge folder full of private photos. More than 200 of them were just Lin Ru alone. I downloaded every single one. Now I just needed solid proof. Then another message came from the coach. Bro, you got lucky. We've got a special fitness party this weekend. A lot of our premium female members will be there. If you book VIP, it's going to be way more interesting. I agreed without hesitation and paid the $1,000 entry fee. A few seconds later, the time and location popped up on my phone. I was still staring at the screen when Lin Ru came home. The second she walked in, she threw her bag onto me. I froze and quickly hid my phone. I asked, "What's wrong?" She sat down beside me in a bad mood and said, "Today was a disaster. Some delivery guy scratched my car when I left the gym. He didn't have the money to pay for it. We argued for a long time, but nothing got solved." Then she looked at me and said, "My mood is terrible. You gonna do anything about it or what?" I sent her $3,000 right away. But this time, I also sent a hidden spy app with the payment. From that moment on, I could hear everything happening around her phone. I never thought I'd end up using something like that on my own wife. Lin Ru smiled and hugged me like none of this mattered. A few days later, the weekend finally arrived. Tonight was the fitness party. That evening, Lin Ru picked up her gym bag and headed out. She said, "I'm hanging out with my friends after the gym tonight. Don't wait up." She was lying. The second she left, I changed my appearance, rented a sports car, and headed straight for the party location. It was a private mansion on the outskirts of the city. When I got to the gate, I saw Lin Ru standing there in stylish clothes, holding a wine glass and talking to people like she belonged there. She didn't even recognize me. The whole place looked insanely luxurious. Every female member had a QR code hanging around her neck, and the walls were covered with giant posters. Then the coach walked over to me with a smile and started showing me around the place. To keep my real intentions hidden, I had no choice but to take one of the female members with me and go up to a room with her. The second we got inside, I sent her off to take a shower. As soon as she disappeared into the bathroom, I put on my earphones and opened the spy app on my phone so I could hear everything they were saying. Just a little while earlier, I had seen Lin Ru walk into a room with another man. A few seconds later, voices started coming through my earphones. A man laughed and said, "So tell me, do you like your husband more or me?" Lin Ru didn't even hesitate. "Of course you. He's just boring and annoying. If he didn't have money, I wouldn't have stayed with him for even a minute." The second I heard that, my blood started boiling. That man wasn't anyone random. It was Lin Ru's boss, Gao Jianping. A little later, their conversation got even more personal, and I couldn't stand to keep listening. Then Lin Ru's voice came through again. "Jianping, you promised you'd promote me after New Year's. And when are you going to divorce your wife?" Gao Jianping answered calmly, "Don't worry. After the annual party, I'll make you my personal secretary. Then we'll have even more time together." Lin Ru giggled like she was thrilled. I immediately saved the recording and shut the app off. In that moment, I understood something brutal. My marriage had been nothing but a lie. I loved that woman with everything I had. I sent her money for every little thing, big and small. But she never appreciated any of it. Instead, she kept trying to use me for more. And just like that, whatever love I had left for her was gone. I saved the recording in 3 separate places and started thinking about how I was going to make both of them pay. By the time the woman I'd brought up finally came out of the bathroom, I was already gone. Before leaving the building, I walked through the whole hall and used the tiny hidden camera I'd planted to record everything I could. I was just about to leave when the coach and a few other people blocked my way. The coach smiled and said, "Hey, don't take this the wrong way. We have rules here. Everybody gets checked before they leave." We searched the body and the phone. I acted surprised. While they were focused on me, I quietly hid the tiny camera inside my mouth. Then I handed over my phone and held my arms out so they could search me. They checked everything carefully, but they didn't find anything. In the end, they let me go. The second I got home, I transferred the hidden camera footage to my computer and backed it up in several different places. After everything was safe, I called an old friend. "Hey Lao Wang, did you finish looking into that gym I asked you about?" He answered right away. "Yeah, I gave all the documents you sent to a private detective. The guy who really owns that gym is Gao Jianping. On the outside, it looks like a yoga center, but behind the scenes, they've got something else going on. We found the money trail, the people organizing the parties, and a lot more." I leaned against my car, lit a cigarette, and said, "Good. Save everything. Don't do anything yet." I wasn't going to rush this. What I was planning wasn't enough on its own. 2 days later, Lin Ru's company was holding its annual function, and that was going to be the day I blew both of their worlds apart. I stayed up all night at my computer gathering every piece of evidence I had. Hidden camera videos, gym membership records, party recordings, audio of Lin Ru and Gao Jianping talking. I made 3 separate backups of every file. The annual function was being held at a 5-star hotel, and Lin Ru had a stage performance planned too. Quietly, I changed the background video for her performance so it would play exactly the way I wanted. The day before the event, I even called Lin Ru's parents and invited them. The next morning, Lin Ru spent hours getting ready. She wore an expensive designer dress and looked ridiculously excited. I knew exactly what she was thinking. All the senior executives from her company were going to be there with their families. She wanted to shine in front of all of them. I dropped her off at the hotel, then slipped inside after her. The hall was huge. I stood in one corner pretending to talk on the phone, and nobody paid me any attention. The event started. One by one, the company executives got on stage to give speeches. When it got close to Lin Ru's performance, I brought her parents to the front row and had them sit down. I smiled and said, "Lin Ru's performance is coming up in just a minute. The second she's done, I'm going to confess my feelings to her in front of everyone. The company's going to help me make it happen." Her parents were thrilled the second they heard that. Finally, her moment came. The second Lin Ru walked onto the stage, the whole hall lit up with soft, romantic lighting. Her makeup was perfect, her dress looked amazing, and the crowd started applauding right away. She looked completely confident up there. I stood off to the side and waited for the moment I had been saving for. The music started. Lin Ru began singing, but she had no idea the background video behind her had already been swapped out. I left the music exactly as it was, but the screen was now playing footage from that fitness party. On the screen, it was crystal clear. Lin Ru was walking into a room with a strange man, holding his hand. Her mother immediately panicked and said, "No, that can't be my daughter. I know her. This has to be some kind of mistake." I played dumb too, acting shocked, like I had no idea what was going on. Everyone in the hall kept looking back and forth between the screen and Lin Ru. Up on stage, Lin Ru thought everyone was just watching her performance, so she kept singing with even more confidence. But in the front row, the company executives' faces had already gone pale. People in the back started whispering to each other. Then Lin Ru finally realized something was wrong. She slowly turned around and looked at the screen. The second she saw the video, the microphone slipped right out of her hand and hit the floor with a loud crack. The entire hall went dead silent. I looked at her parents and said quietly, "Are you still going to say that girl on the screen isn't Lin Ru?" They had no answer. Now everybody's attention was on Lin Ru and the man in the video with her, Gao Junpeng. His wife was there too. She looked at him and said quietly, "So this is who you really are? You promised me you'd never betray me." Gao Junpeng panicked. "Baby, let's go home. I'll explain everything." His wife had finally had enough. She stormed right up onto the stage and grabbed Lin Ru by the hair. The hall exploded into chaos. People rushed in to break them apart. Some were recording, some were just staring like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. By the time they finally got the two of them separated, Lin Ru was already a mess. Her face was swollen. She looked humiliated and furious, like her brain had completely stopped working. Then she shouted, "Fine, since everybody's here, let's get this out in the open. Gao Junpeng doesn't even love you. He only..." She didn't even get to finish. "Slap!" Gao Junpeng slapped her hard right in front of everyone. Then he screamed, "Shut up! You've been chasing me since the day you joined the company. You were the one who dragged me to that party. I love my wife and only my wife. What makes you think you're even in the same league as her?" Lin Ru stared at him, completely stunned. She couldn't believe it. The same man she had just been with a little while ago was now refusing to even acknowledge her in front of everyone. Gao Junpeng turned to his wife and started begging, "Please, let's go home. I'm sorry. I'll explain everything." I wasn't about to let him escape that easily. My moment had finally come. I grabbed the bouquet I'd prepared and ran straight onto the stage. Without even pausing, I drove my fist into Gao Junpeng's face. I'd been holding that punch in for a long time. He never saw it coming. He dropped to the floor instantly. Blood poured from his mouth, and one of his front teeth came flying out. A lot of people at the company already knew me because I had picked Lin Ru up from work more than a few times. So nobody was shocked when I came at him like that. It made perfect sense. I looked at Lin Ru like my heart had been completely torn apart. I looked at Lin Ru with nothing but heartbreak in my eyes and said, "I was going to propose to you today, but I never imagined you've been lying to me all this time. Tell me, Lin Ru, what did that married man have that I didn't?" Then I looked her straight in the eyes and said the only words that mattered. "Lin Ru, we're done. I'm filing for divorce." After saying that, I turned around and walked away without looking back. The moment I stepped outside, I let out a long breath. For the first time in days, all the anger and pain I'd been carrying finally started to lift. As soon as I got home, I gathered every piece of evidence I'd collected. The private videos of Lin Ru and Gao Junpeng, thousands of flirtatious messages they'd exchanged over the past several months, recordings from the party, every last piece of proof. Then I organized everything into separate folders and sent them out. One copy went to Gao Zhanpeng's wife, one went to his parents, and one landed in every employee's company email inbox. I had copied all the email addresses from Lin Ru's work tablet. Now the truth was out, and there was no putting it back. I didn't care whether Gao Zhanpeng's marriage survived or not. I only had one goal. I wanted both of them to lose everything. I never thought I'd spend my life putting together a PowerPoint exposing my own wife's affair. After everything was finished, I finally got the best night's sleep I'd had in weeks. But for me, this was only the beginning. The next morning, I called my attorney. Prepare the divorce papers. I don't want Lin Ru walking away with a single dollar. Every property, every vehicle under my name. I want full control of everything back immediately. After hanging up, I quietly said to myself, "You loved shortcuts and cheap thrills, didn't you? Well, let's see how exciting life feels after I take everything away from you." When Lin Ru received the divorce papers, she stormed over to confront me. "Jiang Tao, what is this? You're really throwing me out?" I looked at her calmly. "The day you decided to betray me was the day our 3 years together ended." I turned to leave, but she grabbed my wrist. Then she pulled a report out of her purse and threw it in front of me. I picked it up. It was a pregnancy test. A few months earlier, she'd told me she wanted a baby, so we'd been trying to start a family. But there was one truth only I knew. A month earlier, I'd gone to the hospital, and my doctor had diagnosed me with fertility issues. Having a child naturally would be extremely difficult, and even if it happened, the risks would be very high. He told me to begin treatment immediately. I never told Lin Ru because I was afraid she'd leave me. Following the doctor's advice, I'd even received a temporary contraceptive injection, which meant one thing was absolutely certain. The baby growing inside Lin Ru couldn't possibly be mine. My whole body started shaking with rage. I couldn't believe she had sunk this low. Cheating wasn't enough. Now she wanted me to raise another man's child as my own. But Lin Ru misunderstood my reaction. She thought I was overwhelmed with emotion. Smiling, she stepped forward and tried to hug me. "You always wanted a baby? I promise I'll never make another mistake. We can be a real family again. Please, just give me one more chance." I couldn't help laughing. "Lin Ru, you've got some unbelievable nerve. You're really standing here trying to bargain with someone else's baby?" She instantly snapped back. "What proof do you have that this baby isn't yours?" Without saying another word, I threw my medical report right at her. She read it, and all the color drained from her face. Looking straight into her eyes, I said, "Still got something to say? If I have to, I'll bring every photo and every piece of evidence into court." This time, she had nothing left to say. She slowly collapsed onto the floor while I turned around and walked away without another glance. The second I got into my car, I called a real estate agent and told him to put the house on the market immediately. But Lin Ru refused to move out. Every time a potential buyer came to see the house, she'd make a huge scene until they left. She thought that was the last piece of dignity she had left to protect. Then one day, the police showed up at the front door. One of the officers looked at her and said, "Ma'am, Jiang Tao is the legal owner of this property. He's requested that you leave immediately. If you refuse, we'll have no choice but to remove you." Lin Ru stood there completely stunned. "How is that possible? I thought this house belonged to both of us." That was the moment she finally realized every legal document had been under my name from the very beginning. After she was forced out, she had nowhere left to go. She checked into a hotel, but I wasn't about to let her start over that easily. That same night, I contacted the hotel management, and before morning, they'd asked her to leave. With nowhere else to turn, she went back to her hometown. But the news had gotten there before she did. Standing outside her parents' house in tears, she begged, "Mom, please open the door. I don't have anywhere else to go." Her mother shouted back from inside, "If you were so smart, why did you throw away a husband like Jiang Tao? Why are you back here now? You have no place in this house." Lin Ru dropped to her knees outside the door and cried, "Mom, please, I know I made a mistake." But the only answer she got was, "You chose this path yourself. Now finish walking it." A few days later, one of my friends sent me a video of her. Watching it filled me with emotions I couldn't even explain. Had Lin Ru ever imagined her life would end up like this? Then Lao Wang asked me, "Want me to do anything else?" I shook my head. No, her own mother has already done enough. After that, Lin Ru's life completely fell apart. She sold the last expensive Chanel jacket she owned just to survive. Then she started calling everyone I knew, begging them to let her speak to me. Eventually, she called Lao Wang. "Please, just give me 5 minutes with him." Lao Wang answered coldly, "Jiang Tao doesn't want to talk to you anymore. The love he had for you, you destroyed it yourself." After being rejected by everyone, Lin Ru got a job as a waitress at a small restaurant. She barely made enough to survive. The woman who once lived a luxury lifestyle now spent her days carrying plates, washing dishes, and getting yelled at by customers. Her hands became rough. The smile she used to wear disappeared completely. Every night she lay alone in a tiny rented room, quietly crying herself to sleep. A few days later, I found someone kneeling outside my office. It was Lin Ru's father. "Son, please forgive my daughter. Just give her one more chance." I answered calmly, "Uncle, she isn't going to die. I'll make sure of that. But she has to live with the consequences of what she did. You're a good man. So let me give you one piece of advice. Forget you ever had a daughter. It'll be better for both of you." After that day, her parents returned to their hometown and never came back to the city. The last anyone saw of Lin Ru, she was standing outside a cheap beauty salon, trying to bring customers inside. After hearing that, I stopped asking about her altogether. Whether she was alive or dead, it no longer mattered to me. A year later, I was walking through a busy shopping district with my new girlfriend when I noticed a familiar face. It was Lin Ru. She was standing outside that same salon in cheap clothes, trying to attract customers. The second she saw me, her face completely fell. She immediately lowered her head. Her eyes were filled with nothing but regret. In just 1 year, her entire world had fallen apart. Meanwhile, my life had only gotten better. I smiled at my girlfriend and kept walking. Across the street, Lin Ru stood there frozen. It looked like she wanted to say something, but she didn't have a single word left to say.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world.